How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, all cops are bastards and trans rights supporting channel. If you're not supporting that shit, get off this fucking channel. This is Dark Phoenix. What are my predictions for Dark Phoenix? I don't know. What other prediction can I give besides this is just going to be the in-between of when Logan came back to this timeline and in between the movie Logan? I mean, that's really the only time left we have still in this like past time. This would probably be like the 90s, right? Apocalypse was the 80s, and then this should be the 90s, I believe, if we're still doing that. I think this one is still in the beginnings quadrilogy or whatever. So I think, again, it's just gonna be like, let's just do the Jean thing again. Let's just do Dark Phoenix again. Jean is in this timeline. We have yet to ever see her in this timeline apart from Days of Future Past. So let's see if that's what it is. I mean, what else could it be? I don't know. It really feels like, didn't we already do this? We are here to talk about Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
Let's start off with the stuff that I'm sure everybody has already talked about and complained about to death, but let's talk about it anyway. Just the fact that we go from Apocalypse being the end of most of the X-Men, to then Logan being the, like, real into Logan's character and Wolverine and Charles as well. Like, Logan really saved the two main characters of the franchise, Charles and Logan, to end on that one, whereas Apocalypse basically ended everybody else.
Yeah.
And then to just put out another movie after that that's just like in between those two movies is so wild of a decision to make. And yeah, I truly don't understand that. Why on earth they would try and do Dark Phoenix again, something that's already fucked up? Why on earth they would try and do Jean, who hasn't been a fucking part of these movies up until like Apocalypse? Like, Apocalypse was the, okay, Jean's back, you know, sort of thing.
Like, this is an intro to the character.
Yeah, and like, it was more of just like a, you know, ending that character in that timeline and everything like that. Like, it was, we haven't really seen anything from them, so it was a brief thing.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be much. You know, but then now going into this whole thing, but let's also say right off the bat, this movie can't be canon. It just doesn't work if it's canon. In terms of, we have seen in this universe when like Logan is at the house and then Jean is also at the house in her body and everything like that, the only thing that could make it actually canon is if Jean can somehow do the same thing Charles did, where he moved his consciousness to another body, and even then that never got an explanation. Still don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. So I don't even want to say that's a possibility because I don't know what that even is.
Right.
So it seems like this movie is just, it has to be non-canon to our two main timelines. Like, could this be a third separate timeline? Maybe, but considering the fact that Logan also happened, that would have to be a fourth timeline then.
Right.
Like, so, yeah, I don't know. And this movie, just writing it off as, didn't happen, not canon.
Fair.
And, yeah, it's buck wild how anybody thought this would work. Or I'm more curious about the production. Is there anything interesting you want to say before we get into the discussion of the movie about, like, pre-production or whatever?
I mean, I'll definitely tell you, Simon Kinberg, known for being
the worst fucking writer of all these X-Men shit, the worst director and all that.
Yeah, known for being not good,
terrible.
Or like he is known for some good movies, but he also, like, his X-Men movies are, you know, most people think of them as like, oh, those are the bad ones. These are why the franchise is dying. First of all, he did write X-Men: The Last Stand.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember at some point we were like looking at the list of just the ones that I had seen, and I was like, wait a fucking second, this dude is on all the ones that's terrible.
Yeah. This is, I believe, the first one he ever wrote, though. Like, he is a director, producer, and a writer on this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people associated with the new trilogy, or, the new quaternilogy, they left on Apocalypse. Like, they didn't want to come back for Dark Phoenix.
Fair. Yeah, I can see why everybody just kind of, nobody wanted to do this, so he had to do everything himself. Like, why? Just leave it alone.
He also did say the reason why he was doing it now was because he had the opportunity to make it, to give it way more breathing room. Like, it was going to be 2 movies. I should tell you that.
Okay, well.
Like, the idea was that, first movie would be Phoenix, which would just be the, power goes into Jean, and then we don't, we deal more with this being her, being very powerful and being an X-Man and, helping the worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dark Phoenix would be the turn.
And a terrible idea. I mean, it seems like right around this time, we're getting news of Infinity War and Endgame, probably, and that's why they wanted to do that as a 2-movie thing.
Yeah, this movie was made in a really weird space of time where, Apocalypse did not do well, and the execs wanted to get rid of it, but at the same time, Simon had already moved forward on stuff for Dark Phoenix, and there's enough goodwill amongst the upper echelons of Sony, or no, they're Fox, right? It was this weird span of time where he could genuinely think, yes, I'm gonna get 2 movies for this, and meanwhile everyone else was going, so we're canceling all the X-Men things, right? This entire franchise, it's over.
Yeah, fair. After Apocalypse, it really should have been, because Apocalypse wasn't. Yeah. I mean, or not Apocalypse, but a Logan.
Yeah.
Logan should have been the end.
Yeah.
You go out on a bang and everything, and yeah.
Yeah.
It should have been the Apocalypse wasn't the best, but it was a good enough wrap up where you should have ended it there. And then this is the real we had our ending and we just want to continue. We're not even trying to do this as another ending or something oh, we got a better idea for an ending. This isn't an ending in any way.
Right.
This is just this is the second part of a trilogy is what it feels like.
Yeah.
This just feels randomly thrown in here.
There's so much about it that they had to set up in the moment, and also it's a little closer to the comics, but not really still.
Yeah.
Which it's in this weird middle ground that we'll get into when we do the talk about the movie. It's this weird middle ground of it isn't that much better than The Last Stand in any way, but it also it's this weird mid-space.
It is.
Yeah.
The Last Stand, I have good memories of, because it is, there's a lot of it that is good. There's just also a hell of a lot of it that is shit.
Yeah.
And I think people mostly remember the shit parts, whereas I just watched it, so, I'm remembering a lot of the better parts of it. Whereas this is the worst movie I've ever seen. I've said that so many times for the X-Men franchise, and somehow it keeps happening. Oh, I mean, I've only said it 3 times definitively for First Class, and then Days of Future Past was worse than that, and then this was worse than that. So, I mean, good on me for apparently not having watched a whole lot of bad movies, apparently. My list, when I was making my list of every movie I'd seen, I was surprised at how many I did.
Yeah.
I don't hate movies as much as I thought I hated movies.
Yeah.
Up until I got into the X-Men franchise. Because it's this, the X-Men franchise I love 1,000 times more than the MCU. So much more. And I said in the MCU that it was quickly becoming one of my favorite things as, something that I'm going to talk about forever.
Right.
And everything. There's so much to talk about there. And same with X-Men. I'm going to be talking about it forever. Way more than I would the MCU, because it's so much better. But at the same time, it also has so much worse.
Yeah.
The MCU is so, consistent for good or bad. Some of them are worse, some are better. But for the most part, it's all in a consistent thing.
That is the main selling point. That is what people like about the MCU specifically compared to other superhero franchises.
Yeah.
If you get a ticket for an X-Men movie, you do not know what you're going to get in any way.
Yeah. You could get something that's absolutely incredible and, just blow out of the park, amazing, or you can get something that's an absolute stinker. You can get something that's good, bad, or mediocre. You ain't gonna go much higher than that. So where do we even talk about this movie? First of all, once again, Charles Magneto being in this fucking movie again as their younger actors when they are, I don't even know how old they are at this point.
They're in their 60s.
They're in their 60s. Unbelievable. There is, this movie just doesn't care about anything.
Right.
It is so loosely an X-Men movie. This feels like someone coming in and doing another X-Men movie that is not a part of this universe at all, but references it in some way or whatever. It's so different and so out of place
Yeah.
and so bad. Apocalypse brought in Sabanor as the as the standalone villain, the first like real standalone villain that wasn't just like random human person.
Yeah.
That I felt like I was like the only person who actually really liked it in Sabanor, whereas most people were very turned off by the whole movie and the like having this original villain and all that. And then so for them in this movie to go, let's do that again, let's do that one more time, but also have them have less personality, more of them, and just no explanation.
Yeah.
Like, at least within Sabanor, we get, like, the whole reasoning behind him. He has so much personality. He's got all this, character going into him and everything like that. And then these aliens are just, we're aliens.
They're just generic aliens.
We are aliens. Nothing. There's nothing. Like, it felt like guys, we've done all of X-Men. We haven't done aliens once yet. We have to do aliens once. It's like, no, you didn't. You didn't have to. You could have just stopped. You could have just stopped.
Well, of course. If we include Deadpool, we did get one alien in Deadpool 2. Shatterstar.
Oh, yeah, that's
X-Force.
right. Yeah.
It's very quickly thrown in there.
Yeah, but I mean, even that works so much better as like a universe thing of like, it's very like The Boys, in which like, there's just a Martian here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. Like, that's a much better way to handle it. And even then, Deadpool 2 still not canon to this universe either.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of this movie, I actually really enjoyed. With the whole like team mission and all that. In general, I really do. I wish we could get an Oops All Missions version of a fucking X-Men movie, because that's what would actually be good. And it sounds like that's what he wanted the first movie to be anyway, which is Phoenix.
Yeah, it would have just been. I don't think we even know what the villain was going to be. Just that it would definitely not be Phoenix as the villain.
Yeah, like. I would definitely love for more of that, of just a, like, we're doing missions, maybe there's a villain and everything like that, but it's not a like, huge super villain, deal or anything like that. It is just a smaller scale things over and over again.
Yeah, like, I really love also just the aesthetic of that whole part, like, the fact that it is, the president is calling the X-Men.
Yeah.
There's a danger in space. Like, launch into space.
It is very, very comic-y. And, I would really love that. That's, like, also, the same thing that I loved and is the best part of Last Stand is, like, the pseudo-mission they're doing in the training room at the beginning of that. And it's so fucking good. It's an amazing action sequence. This one wasn't really an action sequence. That one was an amazing, like, action sequence. Both of them. Make that, do that, keep doing that for the movie. Just do that more and more. This one felt like they wanted to do the Fantastic Four. Like, this felt very Fantastic Four-y to me.
I could see that
in a way. Like, especially with like the aliens and like I don't know. It just felt like that to me, and I don't want to bring it up.
No, I can totally see it. Like, especially with the we went to space and we got hit with these rays.
Yeah, it's that as well. Coming back now, we got the special powers. Yeah. Also, again, I really love Quicksilver, but I would rather him not be in the movies. Like this whole movie is right off the bat, from the very start. It's like the entire movie didn't have to happen if they just made Quicksilver go in there. Like, the fact that they have Jean, that they have Quicksilver go and save everybody, then they're like, we have 30 seconds left, so Jean has to go in and hold the fucking thing together.
Right.
Instead of sitting Quicksilver over there who could do it in 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's really contrived.
It's so contrived. They could have easily still had Quicksilver be in the movie and just not have him be in that part of it, and it would have been fine. That's so weird. I mean, in general, it's hard to have Quicksilver in any parts of these movies because he's, too powerful. Like, the Jean thing made sense, but then they didn't do that anymore. Then they just kind of didn't have him.
Yeah, like, I really do like Days of Future Past for, having him be very isolated because they were just testing him out. There was a lot also going on in the movie already. And then with Apocalypse, like, the scale of it is so big that you can see why he wouldn't be able to help by the time they, they get him and they bring him out.
And, like, he is, like, the savior of the school. Like, everybody would have died if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
Or, like, while they're actually, like, fighting in Salvador and all that, all the people there, can't remember the name of that.
Horseman?
Yeah, the Horseman. He's focused more on Magneto than anything, he would be better there, or at least everybody thinks so and he thinks so because of the personal connection. Even if he doesn't use that was the idea.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes sense. Both those movies make sense where he is and why he's not doing stuff, and this movie, absolutely no reason why he's not doing shit, and why they had him in the first part, making this extremely convoluted and make no sense at all. yeah, just just a real shit. They should have stopped it with the Phoenix shit. Just in general, bad. Like if they want to do another Jean movie, what the fuck ever. But the Phoenix stuff, they can clearly not handle.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to do it again with the same message that everybody hated. Of like it's not her fault. Why do these movies have to act like it's her fault? And then everyone's like, why do you not like these movies? I wonder why. I wonder why when you reintroduce Jean as a character and spend the entire movie just telling us we should hate her. It's like, what? Fuck you.
Yeah, Simon did say that like mental illness was going to be a big part of the movie, and he did like specifically get research. Like he researched, and also he had his team research accurate depictions of mental illness because they wanted to really nail the like.
They wanted to mock it clearly. They wanted to mock it with accuracy. Fuck me, man. That's more infuriating that he purposely knew that this was a metaphor for mental illness, and then he researched it and everything, and his takeaway was, yeah, I hate it. I hate them. I hate any mental disabled person. I hate just disabled people in general.
Yeah.
This is not even a mental disability, too. This is also like a physical disability.
Right.
On top of that. Like, it's complicated because it's powers.
Yeah.
But it is a mental thing that then becomes physical, and I mean, like, there's various stuff like that. Like Tourette's can have there's another thing that has the twitch, very violent twitches, or various other things like just having intrusive thoughts and various shit like that. There's so much that goes into this. There's not like one thing. There's a lot that is covered by Phoenix. And so it's way more fucked up when like this is the end message, because it's not just about one thing, it's about like just all disabilities in general. By the end. Oh man. Terrible. Again, also with the Charles thing. My God. It would be hard to find another person who hates Charles as much as I do, and who finds Charles to be as much of a villain as I do in a lot of things. And yet, this movie is having me sit here being buddy-buddy with Charles and being like, no, Charles is okay. Charles is fine in this regard. Stop yelling at Charles. Stop meaning at Charles. Like, what did Raven want? What did she want? In every other movie, she has done this, I go out and help other mutants and free them and everything like that, whereas that's not her thing in this movie. That doesn't seem like what she wants. Like, she's just kind of complaining that they're helping people.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're supposed to be like, yeah.
Yeah, like, she isn't saying, because we are helping humans, we are also, like, depriving other mutants of our help. It is just a, like, Charles, you're a fame hound.
Yeah. And, like, it would be one thing if it's like, oh, we're going to rescue the military, or oh, we're going to rescue the president accidentally shit his pants, now we gotta give him a new pair of pants. Like, it'd be one thing if it's astronauts,
Yeah.
There's no qualms about, like, are these okay humans to be saving? They are astronauts.
And it's extremely, great power, great responsibility, in that, like, no one else could probably go into space on a moment's notice apart from the X-Men.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think they sold the, like, there was a lot of talk about, like, oh, this isn't capable of doing this. But then it was totally fine. Like, there was no issue at all. The issue was the space anomaly. The issue wasn't any of the reasons why they brought up why it might be dangerous.
Right.
It was completely safe.
Yeah.
So it was a really, like, there's a lot of, everything that they say is a reason for you to hate Charles is all the reasons why it's not a reason to hate Charles.
Right.
Like, it's the class, like, you're not bringing up any of the shit that really matters. You just bring up all this other shit. And it's hard because, like, when they get into, like, the depressive talk, like Beast gets into depressive talk with them or whatever, it's like, yeah, this is all factual, but coming from you right now because of these circumstances makes it invalid. Like, it's bad coming from you at this time. And so, like, it's just, Beast, this movie is, I already don't like Beast. Again, this movie is I don't like half of these characters, and this movie made me sad at what they did with these characters. Like, man, this movie was just a bunch of mutants running around and screaming and just doing nothing. Doing nothing. Also, like, nobody's using their powers in a way that makes sense whatsoever. Like, the fucking, subway car that Magneto brings up.
Right.
I was trying so much to justify that. Like, he brings it up, and I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? Bringing up train tracks? Okay, no. He was bringing up the subway car to block it. Wait, why? There's a bus right there. Okay, no. The subway car didn't have people in it. Wait, no, of course it would have people in it. So why the fuck did he bring up the subway car instead of the giant bus right there that's bigger?
Yeah, the set pieces in this movie are pretty underwhelming, because, like, there's the spinning train, like, when Jean levitates it.
Oh, yeah. The whole train sequence is, they really, like, the most forgettable part, and they really bank it on that for being their final act, and, man.
Well, I will say, the entire final act was changed, like, not that, pretty late into the movie.
Okay.
Like, the original, we don't know what the original one was, as far as I know, but it tested really bad. So they did reshoot the entire final third of the movie.
Okay. That probably also would explain why the villains just basically change in the final act.
Yeah, like, it's so... I'm curious, like, I don't like the villains, but I'm curious to see what the point was going to be with them in the final act. Like, were they going to try and, like, groom Jean into helping them? Because, it's weird. Yeah, it's a weird mix.
So they start out with this girl sucked up all this energy. We need to get it out from her because this thing destroyed our planet. So we believe that it must also be able to make a planet.
Yeah.
But by that, they mean destroy Earth. Unclear what that means. Their plan, again, is we want to be able to get it out of her. And then they switch the plan to, actually, we just want to use her. And then that turns into, by that, we meant get it out of her.
Yeah.
And then that is still like there's no real plan. They're just kind of, like everybody in this movie, they're just kind of doing stuff. Everybody's just kind of doing shit.
This is such a bad movie to be, like, Simon was definitely being coy about the energy. Like, it's very, like, there's a certain power that is in the universe, and it destroyed our planet. Like, in the comics, this is known as the Phoenix Force.
Okay.
And, like, when we learn about it, it is immediate, like, by the way, this is the first force of creation. This is responsible for all of existence.
What the fuck?
And it also, like, it destroys things in order to recreate them. So it is equal parts creator and destroyer.
Okay.
And so it is the, like, big... No one could ever possibly command this apart from Jean because she's got the big psychic power. Well, I mean, there's been other people later on, but at the time, it was this big, like, bird aliens coming here, and it was this, like, they have this big culture involving the Phoenix because, it's also a bird.
Okay.
There's a lot of that, like, taken for these aliens, which are completely different, but it's, like, because they don't say half of what the Phoenix Force is supposed to be, it comes off as a lot of, like, we just think this is gonna happen.
Yeah, it's a lot like the fucking villain of First Class, where it's just like, I'm just assuming that radiation has made mutants, so I'm gonna blow up the whole world.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it is that extreme loose, as the villain is telling it to you, you can't question whether they're right or wrong, you just have to be like, I guess? This is so out of left field.
It is the classic, like, I don't know where you're getting this information from, but I have to believe you, and we'll get that reveal at some point, and then the movie ends, and I go, nope, guess not. Guess not. I'm glad I called my shot, and the moment they were introduced, I went, yeah, we're never going to get a fucking... Again, it's the classic thing where the way they're introduced is really... That's an interesting, like... I mean, it's the classic body snatcher sort of thing. That thing's always going to be fun. But then right after, it just becomes so boring and so who cares?
Yeah.
So unbelievably who gives a shit? Like, and even then, it's like, why are they coming down like little light balls? And like, why are they tree people? And why is anything?
Yeah.
The train thing. What's up with that? Why? There's like so many of them too. They're like, there's very few of us left, and there's thousands of them on that train. It's just like a whole... I don't know how to talk about it, man. They're just bad and boring. It's like zombies, but not interesting. Even zombies are more interesting.
It's a lot of just alien tropes kind of roll together in one big, like, we're doing aliens, right? Aliens can do this.
Yeah.
Like, they also have psychic powers and they can shapeshift.
They can just do whatever. They're just like... I don't even, like, sometimes you'll punch them and they'll explode, shoot them and they don't die, you could blow them up with a bomb and nothing happens, crush them a little bit, they die. Like, nothing's consistent.
Yeah.
You stab them, they die sometimes. It's so inconsistent.
It sucks because I like the idea of, like an asymmetrical villain for the X-Men. Like, usually they fight either mutants or, like, something very connected to mutants, like the Sentinels.
Mm-hmm.
But it's usually very much like, these things are meant for them. And I like the idea of a movie that is, like, we're gonna do a complete outside threat, like, not related to anything else they've done before. But really botched it.
Yeah, of course they botched it, Simon. But what else, man? What else?
So, how do you feel about Phoenix, Jean, Dark Phoenix, her as a person in this movie?
I'm done. Jean and the Phoenix and the Dark Phoenix and everything are something that I just don't want to think about.
Sure.
I never think about, whenever I talk about the X-Men, even like Last Stand and everything, I just avoid talking about Jean altogether because fuck Jean.
Mm-hmm.
Jean's not a character. Jean is a plot point and it's a shame.
Yeah.
They could have done a lot of interesting things with her. I was very interested in her when this was being brought up in Last Stand,
Mm-hmm.
but man, they've botched it. I don't even want to think about it. She's a plot device.
Fair.
She is like, she is the most Mary Sue character while not being a Mary Sue in any real way.
Right.
Like, it is like a Mary Sue who isn't allowed to get any of the benefits of that.
Yeah.
It's really sad. It's really sad. Like, it truly is, like, depressing to have this character that is, like, super powerful, has all this, like, all the qualities of Mary Sue, and yet they spend so much time making you want to hate her. I mean, not want to hate her. They spend so much time trying to convince you that you're supposed to hate her.
Yeah.
Even as an audience, you're never really given a real reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel bad for the actors for a lot of these characters. Like, truly. Just... Man, these characters just being fucking put into the dirt, just being dragged through the shit. I got what else is there to say? This movie's bad. It's
really
so
bad.
It's so bad. Again, I think my total review of the movie is it's just a bunch of characters that you recognize running around, screaming, and fighting each other for no reason. Mm. It's hell. It's pointless. It's just all pointless.
Yeah.
Any trivia, or we're done?
This is the worst movie that has ever been dedicated to Stan Lee.
I gotta ask you, actually, have you seen a worse movie than this?
I'm sure, like, probably not, in that, like, I keep on thinking about, bad movies that you watch because they're fun.
Sure.
But that has the inherent, you watch it because it's fun to it.
There's enjoyment factor. When I'm saying a movie is bad, when I say this is the, like, worst movie I've ever seen, it has the least entertainment value of any movie I've ever seen, and it, like, pisses me off. Like, I don't think if a movie is just extremely boring, that can't count as, like, the worst movie of all time.
Okay.
It has to also piss you off.
Yeah. Fair.
So I think this movie qualifies as being pointless and nothing matters, and also it pisses me off so much.
But yeah, I agree with the general critical outcry of just it's such a bad movie. It is definitely the worst X-Men movie.
Well, I'm also saying this because we watched Howard the Duck, which is critically considered the worst movie of all time.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Howard the Duck, more enjoyable than this shitfest. More enjoyable.
It's got so many, like, it's got good set pieces.
It's got good set pieces. It's got the occasional okay joke.
There is a level of absurdism to, like, certain sequences where you're like, I don't know why this is happening.
It has the bad, like, this movie is so bad that it becomes entertaining through, like, certain aspects.
And it's also just very stripped down. Like, as movies have gone on, there has been more and more allowance for the 2-hour movie than the 3-hour movie. Yeah. And this is not that long, to be honest, but it has the energy of a very long movie. Yeah. Because, again, it was supposed to be 2 movies. And to be fair, I don't think that Simon can write 2 good Dark Phoenix movies. I just keep on saying that as also, this is 2 things crammed together, and it feels like, these could all be different plots.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Before we end this discussion, real quick. if you had to do a movie after Logan, and you
Yeah.
had to do a movie after Logan,
Mhm.
you were the writer, director, producer, everything like that.
Uh-huh.
What would you do instead? Like, I think my prediction for this movie was like it was less of a prediction, more of a hope, a
Uh-huh.
plead to the gods of the world,
Mhm.
for it to be showing the Jean and Wolverine in this new universe and everything in between Apocalypse and Logan, and but showing that
Sure.
like gap where we got to Days of Future Past or
Yeah.
like right after Days of Future Past, playing with
Mhm.
that a little bit or something.
Yeah. Like, Days of Future Past did set a strong precedent with the, like, we can get both actors back.
Mhm.
And for someone like Logan, you could also, like, fill that entire gap in one movie if you wanted to do some really cool, like, time sequences.
Yeah.
Like, showing him getting, staying the same, but, aging maybe a little bit to foreshadow Logan.
And like I think that would be still not an ideal movie because it's
Yeah.
taking place after Logan, and I wouldn't want Hugh Jackman to be coming back as Wolverine, or just anybody to be coming back as Wolverine, unless Laura's taking up the mantle of the name Wolverine,
Yeah.
which I assume she will be. But other than that, I don't want that. I didn't want that to come back. So
Yeah.
I'm glad at the very least that Wolverine was not in this movie, because I was expecting a cameo or something. Thank you, Hugh Jackman, at least for not fucking
I
showing
mean-
up for this movie.
I mean, I think the person we have to thank is Seinfeld.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you, Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld helped Hugh Jackman dodge a bullet. This is exactly the kind of thing he would have been upset with if this was his final movie.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you, Jerry Seinfeld, for dunking on Hugh Jackman. Love it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think excluding the name Dark Phoenix or anything, that's just a separate movie. A movie that was just focused entirely on Rogue, I think, would have been better. We haven't focused on Rogue for ever, for the entire shits since like X2. I guess she was in Last Stand. Yeah. I think that would be something more of like we've ended all these other characters. Let's do where has Rogue been, and then have that be separate from all the other characters. Something like that would be maybe interesting.
Yeah. Like, I definitely would not try to continue any of the main stories. I would have definitely just gone for a spin-off. Like, I also do not understand the concept of...
Do Gambit!
Yeah.
Do Gambit!
They wanted to do it for so long.
Do it!
Yeah, I don't understand the idea that also Simon wanted Dark Phoenix and, Phoenix and Dark Phoenix to cross over with the New Mutants. Which, the New Mutants was already, finished in the can in 2016.
Okay.
So, they've just been sitting on it until the pandemic, in which where they released it.
That is very surprising, because it felt like Logan was... again, if they already knew that it was finished, maybe they could even play into it way, way harder. But, Logan feels like it was very, very much so a, direct lead-in into New Mutants for me. But, yeah. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm not looking forward to the New Mutants. I'm really not,
Yeah.
man.
I really like the idea behind what they were going to do after the original trilogy of, let's do X-Men Origins, let's focus on some characters that are already there, and then we'll see what people like, and we'll, take it from there.
Yeah.
That did lead to the entire Wolverine franchise, which is strong. So I'd say, do a Rogue movie, do a Gambit movie, just test the waters, and then you can always, just change that into, you don't have to do a trilogy for them.
Yeah.
It could be this is also their spin-off team or whatever.
Yeah, I think that something like that could be fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly, Deadpool is doing a lot of interesting stuff with that now, with the just introducing other mutants or characters that could just have a 2-bit role for a second or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, see you guys for New Mutants.
Oh boy.
I can't wait.